names or character. Now, the cyst, the blastocyst, is a membrane that covers it like this, that covers the zygote so as to protect it from damage. Now, once it goes down to the fallopian tube, the blastocyst develop to form what we know as trophocyte or trophoblast anyway. Now, here the embryo will develop a finger-like structure. A finger-like structure. The finger-like structure now is a trophoblast, where it will fuse himself to the womb of the woman. Are we together? Then start absorbing the nutrients from the womb directly. Are we together? That process is implantation. Then from there, then the woman will now develop placenta. Of course, the chorion and the allotis, these two membranes of the woman will develop, come together to form placenta. Are we together? Then the fetus, the fetus will now form what you know as umbilical cord. You know that one, right? The umbilical cord will now connect itself to the placenta. Then at that point, the baby or the fetus now have direct contact with the mother. The mother and the baby will be sharing the same thing, but circulation of the fetus is different from this. Are we together? Different from that of the mother. So the whole process here talks about implantation of what? Implantations of fertilized egg. So please know these things. Know these things. All right. Those at the back. Now, our emphasis today is growth and development. Any question from last class? I want to ask question. What is the function of the epididymis? What is the function of epididymis? That is one of the male reproductive organ. Yes?
It collects and stores the sperm until they are mature.
Yes. It stores sperm and it contains acid. Are we together? It contains acid. What about the seminal vesicle? What is the function of seminal vesicle? It secretes semen. Okay, yeah, a fluid. That's milk, colorless fluid. Is a semen that comes. Yes. No, the seminal vesicle do not store. What it does is that it secretes. It also secretes alkaline substances onto the sperm that comes out from the epididymis. Are we together? Because at that point the sperm is acidic. At that point the sperm is what? Acidic. So it have to be alkaline. Are we together? Yes. And the epididymis contains alkaline that will neutralize the acid from the what? Epididymis. Then the fluid from the seminal vesicle and the fluid from prostate gland and cowper gland give that milky coloration of sperm. Are we together? That milky substances or liquid after ejaculation is as a result of combination of prostate gland, cowper gland, and semen. Are we together? But there is a tiny cells inside this fluid called spermatozoa that cannot be seen with naked eyes. So what you only see physically is what? Semen, prostate gland, and the cowper. All right, let's proceed. So what is growth? Know this one's right. I don't want us to overflow this particular thing. What is growth? Now. You know this one now? Is anyone shy here? Yes. Irreversible. Increase in size. I like that. Irreversible. So there's no way a man can be tall today. You see the man tomorrow and he becomes short. No. Do you know why it's like that? Your bones. Okay, someone say yes. Your bones. You see this your bones. Each between joint contains a cartilage called hyaline cartilage. Called fibrocartilage anyway. Fibrocartilage that prevent frictions, direct friction. It's the same cartilage that is found in chickens. Once you break chicken bone, that's something that thing that looks colorless. Eh? That is difficult for the teeth to cut. You know that one, right? The same thing in the joint of man. So it prevents friction. Imagine if there is no fibrocartilage. Means as you keep walking, you keep your bone will be gliding themselves. Your bone will be gliding themselves. So you that is tall today can become short tomorrow because of the friction. Are we together? So growth here and development, our emphasis is on plant anyway. So is the increment in what size and what? And height, Abi? In talking about growth, there is what we know as growth phase. You know what is growth phase, right? You don't? Oh, really? But you know what is growth rate? This is a secondary more topic now. Okay, they didn't teach you that one. As usual. All right. So growth phase. Growth phase. We have the meristematic phase or formative phase. We have elongation. We have maturation. These are called growth phase. Are we together? Every living organism. Okay, our emphasis is plant now. Every plant must undergo these three phases. One is meristematic phase, another is elongation phase, and lastly is what? Maturation phase. Okay, so once a plant undergoes these phases, they will start growing. Are we together? They will start. Brother, please, can you stop that? They will start what? Growing. Are we together? Now, there is a cell called meristematic cell. Have you heard of that cell? Have you heard of such cell before? Meristematic cell. Meristematic cell. Meristematic cell is found in the roots, tips, and shoot apex of plants. That is in the tips of roots, and in the shoot system of plants. Meristematic cell. It is a meristematic cell that undergoes cell division called mitosis. You have heard of mitosis now? The undergoes mitosis. Is the meristematic cell that undergoes this mitosis. So, as they undergo mitosis, from cell, it build up to tissues. Is that not so? From tissues, build up to what? Organ. Then you see that the plants will start growing. Development. The length of the plant will start increasing. Is that not so? We see the plant that is thinner before. I'm not from biology, so let me just. It's okay, no problem. So you will see a plant that is small before we grow to a bigger plant. Are we together? We grow towards a bigger plant because of this meristematic cell that have undergoes what? Cell division called mitosis. I hope you know. For those writing WAEC, there's a difference between mitosis and meiosis. Hope you know that, right? What is the major difference between mitosis and meiosis? See, I want these things to be interactive so that I want to use 1 second to explain. Yes? Divide more than once. Okay? Yes. That is correct. You have all tried. So mitosis is also called multiplicational division because it produces the same numbers of chromosomes with that of the parent cell. That is the daughter cell that is formed, that is the true daughter cell that is formed from mitosis, have 46 chromosomes that look like the what? The parent cell. In meiosis, that is why they are usually called diploid chromosome, diploid, because they produces the same number of that of the parent. Meiosis produces 2 and 4 daughter cells. Are we together? And meiosis is made up of 2 types. One is meiosis 1, another is meiosis what? 2. Meiosis 1 produces 2 daughter cells. Meiosis 2 produces what? 4 daughter cells. Are we together? And they produces haploid chromosome because the total numbers of chromosomes gotten from meiosis, is half compared to what? The chromosome from that of the parent. So they are usually called reduction division. I don't know if it covers, but if you need more explanation after the class. Now, that is for meristematic, involve division, cell division, mitosis division. The next is elongation. Of course, as more daughter cell is formed, there will be elongation, right? Where that is where cell to cell comes together to form tissues. Elongation happens. Is that not so? Then at maturity is where a full system of this plant has been formed, or where the plant have increased in height, in size. I don't know if I'm too fast. Are we together? There is also what is known as growth rate. Are we together? Growth rate has to do with the increment over a particular time. Growth rate has to do with what? An increase in the organs of plants over a particular time. And growth rates are basically 2 types. One is arithmetic growth rate and 2 is geometric growth rate. Have you not come across these 2 words before? No. All right. Now, the arithmetic growth rate talks about or describe how after the cell division, that is the 2 daughter cell that is formed, the one of the daughter cell will continue cell division, while the remaining cell will develop to form a different structure and maybe give the size plants or maybe build up to form flowers or something like that. It explains such things at the arithmetic. While the geometric talks about how after mitosis, the 2 daughter cell that is formed, 2 of them continue cell division. Are we together? 2 of them continue. It's not like this one that one of the daughter cell continue and the other one stop. But in geometry, 2 of them continues. Are we together? Thereby continue forming daughter cells. And the geometric growth rate is also called sigmoid curve. Have you heard of sigmoid curve before? Sigmoid curve. This is called sigmoid. This thing is very important for those writing WAEC. Eh? So the sigmoid curve shows the level, how shows how the two daughter cell that is formed undergoes rapid growth, rapid growth, rapid development, and at the point of stationary here shows how they reaches maturity and then they stop growing. Are we together? They reaches maturity and then they stop growing. While the dead phase is at the point where, of course, after old age, some of them start dying and all of that. Are we together? So this the sigmoid curve is also known as geometric what growth rate. You just have to brush through because of time. All right. So all right. Now the next in line is germination. Germination of seed. Germination of seed. What do you understand by the word germination? Can you try germination of seed? Germination of seed. Seed germination. Yes. Eh? You say something? I know. Something related to growth. Yes. To or a young plant. That is good. That is a good attempt. Yes. Any other person? Germination. Yes. Embryo to yes, that is good. That is good. All right. So when we talk about germination, there are processes that actually leads to germination of seed. Are we together? Can I clean this one? There are processes that lead to germination of seed. One of the process is water imbibition. Now, let's take for example maize plant. You know maize now, corn. Hope you know that before you can plant corn or any seed, the seed must be dried first, abi? Yes. Very good. Otherwise, the seed will just be there for you. Just be looking at you until you old. It will not grow. Now, once of course, for you to plant, you have to till the ground. Is that not so? You till the ground, a fertile ground, and then you bury your seed, right? And cover. Let's say maize plant and cover. Now, once you do that, the first process that seed must undergo before it starts germinating is water imbibition. The water, the seed, we have to accumulate a lot of water. Are we together? Now, once it accumulates this water, then it will break what we know as seed dormancy. There is what they call seed dormancy. Seed dormancy is the resting state of seed, resting stage of seed before germination. Eh? So the water now will break that seed what dormancies. Then the next is enzyme activations. The enzyme that has become dormant in the seed will become activated. Enzyme and hormones in the seed will becomes what? Activated. We have many enzymes. We have ethylene, we have ozine, we have gibberellin, and many other enzymes or hormones. So once the enzyme becomes activated, the next is what? Cell division. The cell will start undergoing what? Repeated division. Are we together? Now, at the point where it forms cells, at the point where cells form tissues to organ, are we together, class? At the point of organ is at the point where you start noticing what? Leaf coming out. And then roots will start shooting from the seed. Are we together? At the point of organ. Then at the point of system where it has formed two systems, that is the roots and then the shoot system. Are we together? Now, let's look at types of germination. What are the types of germination? Okay, yes. Very good. Hypogee and what? How are you? I'm cleaning. One is what? Another is what? Actually, there are three. Are we together, class? There are three. The last is what? Who can tell me the last one? Ma? You say? Are we together? What we have here is what? Very good. So who can tell me how this germination usually takes place in monocotyledons what plants? Abi? Monocots. And epigynous happens mostly in what? Dicots. Are we together? Now, the vivipary mostly occurs in mangrove plants. Mangrove, you know what is mangrove, right? They are plants that grows in marsh habitat. You didn't do geography. Marsh, you don't know what is marsh. Not February, March. Marsh. Marsh. Wait too. I nearly wrote marsh this year. All right. When it comes to types of terrestrial habitat, we have forests, we have marsh, we have savanna, we have arid land. You know that one, right? They don't see teach you. All right. Okay. So vivipary, you say occurs in what? In monocot plants, is that not so? Why dicot occurs where? Epigynous occurs in what? In dicot. All right. Give me examples of monocot. Maize. Very good. Now, let's say this is ground level. Let's say this is ground level. Once you till the soil and bury, the maize brings out cotyledon. Are we together? Into the topsoil. Are we together? To form this part is called hypocortical. Ah, the epigal germination here. Give me examples of dicot plant. You want to look before you answer like Jesus. Granite, ma? Now, once you till the soil and plant granules, or beans, what happen is this: the ground, the seed that is on the ground will come out. Are we together? The seed will come out, leaving behind roots in the soil. Are we together, class? This kind of germination is called what? Epigal germination. Now, what about vivipary? I said there are some plants that there are some plants like red mangrove and white mangrove. Mangrove plants, the offspring grow from their parents. Do you understand? Let's say this is a parent. Let's say this is a parent plant. The offspring will grow from here. Now, once it grows and then leaf, it starts forming leaf from the parent. It will cut off and fall on the ground and then germinate as a fresh plant. Are we together? This plant happens. I say mangrove plant, right? Mangrove plants, they have a root called pneumatophore or breathing roots. Their roots have ability to come out from the soil to the surface to collect gas and send it to the plant. They are very interesting plants. Very interesting plants. Are we together, class? Yes? You see? Huh? Okay. It happens because of the salt and the soil, the muddy soil, and also the presence of salt in the soil. Because if the plant should develop seed, if the seed should fall on the ground, on the salty ground and the muddy ground, it will not grow. Do you understand? It will not grow. So the only way to grow is for the offspring to grow from the parent and come down, so that it will grow well. All right. Are we together? Are we good? All right. Now, let's look at nervous system. Are we together? Let's look at nervous system, right? Yes. Nervous system. Nervous system is responsible for coordinations of internal. Nervous system is responsible for coordinations and functions of what? Living organism. Are we together, class? The nervous system. And when it comes to nervous system, the nervous system are divided into two. Is that not so? Yes, which is the CNS, right? The central, what makes up the nervous system rather is the central nervous system. You know that, right? What makes up the central nervous system again? No. What makes up the central nervous system? You don't need to read book first now. And the brain. Hope you know where the spinal cord is. Can you touch your spinal cord? Sorry, you say? Can you touch your spinal cord? Is there anybody here that can touch his spinal cord? If you can touch your spinal cord, I will fear you. Because why? Because your vertebral column covers it. The vertebral columns. Your spinal cord is found inside your vertebral column like this. Are we together? Inside the vertebral column like this. So there is no way you can touch it. and and it leads directly to your brain, to this part here. Are we together? Now, your spinal cord is made up of what you know as spinal nerves, about 12 spinal nerves, while your brain is made up of about 31 cranial nerves. That is the nerves that controls the spinal cord and the nerves that control what? The brain. Are we together? All right. Now, another thing again I want us to know is this. Hello? The CNS. The CNS is made up of tiny cells called what? Neurons. You know what is neuron, right? Or nerve cells. Are we together, class? Neurons or what? Nerve cells. The neurons are, what are the types of neurons? Yes. And interneurons. All right. Now, neurons. Hello, are we together? Neurons are structured in a way as to have what is known as cell body and dendrite. Dendrite is prolar. Dendron is ace. Two of you stand up. Stand up. Are we together? The neurons. Let me see. The neurons is just like this. It have head called cell body. It contains the DNA of the nerve cells. Are we together? This is a cell. Contains. Now it has a finger-like structure called, collectively they are called dendrites. Are we together? This dendrites. Now the dendrite connects nerves to nerves, thereby forming a network. Are we together? Now, what the sensory nerves does is this. It collects information. Are we together? It collects information from the motor neurons. It collects the information and then sends it to the brain. The brain serves as interpreter. Are we together? The brain serves as what? Interpreter. It collects information and interprets it. That is what the brain does. Now, once the sensory neurons carry this information to the brain, it will also pass through the brain, through the cranial nerves, and then go back to the motor neuron. Let me give instance. Let's say you are cooking food. As you are cooking food, you mistakenly, of course, if you are cooking food, you must surely burn your hand, have you? Then, okay. At least something will burn you now, either pot or fire. But something will hurt your hand. If it doesn't hurt your hand, means you are using means you are using sun to cook. All right. Now, hello, are we together? Your hands contains lots of what? Sensory nerves. Are we together? Your hands contain lots of what? Nerve cells. The nerve cells in your hands, once you touch hot object, it happens so fast, so speedily. Once you touch hot object, for example, your motor neurons will collect your sensory neurons rather will collect the information from your motor neurons and then send it to your brain immediately. Then your brain will now send the information back to your hand, this hand, that you should move your hand, that the place is hot. Are we together? That the place is what? Hot. It happens in seconds. Are we together? That is why I pity sometimes people that have partial or permanent paralysis. Their nerve cells are mostly damaged. They can put their hand on fire, put their leg inside fire and be sleepy without knowing. They will only wake up and notice that they don't have leg again. Or the fire will burn their leg. They will not feel anything. Are we together? But you that is LD, immediately, even the same thing. Hello, even your slippers, your nerve cells is so sharp, so smart, to the extent that if you wear slippers and you mash stone that have tongues, you feel the sharpness, right? The sharp, you send the information to your brain that you should shift away from that stone. Are we together? That you should shift away. Then at that process, you move your leg. Is that also? So your nerve cells controls everything about you. Are we together? Controls everything about you. Now, there is also what we call peripheral nervous system. You know that one, right? Peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system are made up of two types. One, we have parasympathetic and also sympathetic peripheral nervous system. You know that one, right? Very good. So what is the difference between these two? What is the difference between parasympathetic and sympathetic? Yes? Yes, what are the different